going on YouTube? This is Lewis from Squeaky Clean Commercial Cleaning Company here in Columbia, South Carolina. I wanted to drop another video to kind of share an issue that happened today. Actually, it happened yesterday with my cleaning account at a dealership that I have in a neighboring town. So what happened is that the person that is the general manager for the dealership, he called and said that there were a few issues with some of the cleaning that was going on. And what he wanted to do, he wasn't calling to complain or anything like that, but he wanted to make sure that the cleaners are actually following the guidelines, following the checklist of the things that we have for them to do. So he said, if you wouldn't mind, just come and take a look around to make sure everything is status quo at least, and to kind of tidy up or tighten up on some of the areas that may be missed. So what happened was I told my cleaners some of the issues that he was saying that needed to be addressed, and that I would be up there to kind of look at them yesterday. So what they did was the night before, they did a good job with kind of hitting some of the areas that I specifically said were issues, but they didn't hit all the areas that were actually on the checklist. Now, we have a checklist for each location that we have, which you should have. You should make sure that with any account, if you're completely out of the field, then that may be kind of difficult for you to know. But if you're still like where I am, and I'm still actually working some of the accounts to kind of get a feel of how long it's going to take, what needs to be done to be able to develop a checklist and kind of a plan for how to attack each account, then it makes it kind of easier for you to know what each cleaner needs to do at each account. Now, if you're not in the field and you're kind of out and you actually are contracting all this stuff out, it's kind of different. But I'm speaking from the aspect of I've worked the account, I know what needs to be done, I actually have a scope of work, so it's easy for the cleaners to be able to tell this is what we need to accomplish each and every time, whether it be daily, weekly, or monthly. So they weren't meeting all of the tasks on the checklist. So what I did, me and my my operations manager, we went and kind of looked at the account. We looked at areas that people don't necessarily always pay attention to when you're cleaning. For instance, when you get to a dealership, they have cubicles, they have, of course, the showroom area, which everybody knows about. There's also the customer service area. And these are kind of high traffic areas and high visibility areas that when people come in, they actually, they notice, right off top. So off top, you need to know that, okay, the high visibility areas such as the showroom, the customer service area where people are getting their cars repaired or anything like that, those are the areas that you need to pay attention to, in addition to the restrooms. So these were all the issues that we found. We found areas where, maybe behind a chair, maybe the tops of the cubicles weren't dusted. Also areas where they may have signs and stuff up that may be kind of blocked, where if you have a handheld vacuum, it's kind of difficult to get to unless you use the actual hand tool to kind of get in those areas. But if you have a backpack vac, which I recommend for most commercial accounts to have a backpack vac, it makes it a lot easier and quicker to get through the vacuuming part of it. And it kind of takes away you having to sweep. If you have a backpack vac, you can go through and kind of vacuum everything. You don't have to sweep, and it kind of speeds things up. So at this location, I realized, okay, from them missing certain areas, I realized that, okay, maybe I need to get them a backpack vac. Now, the reason why they didn't have one before was when we first started the account, I asked the cleaners, because, I'm not an expert cleaner, I hire expert cleaners. So they suggested they wanted a handheld vac as opposed to a backpack vac, which I gave them the opportunity, or I gave them the option. But now I realize that's probably an option that I need to go ahead and add to this account to kind of make it a little bit easier for them to be able to hit those areas that weren't hit. So for the most part, the area wasn't really bad, but it's just little nitpicky areas and kind of things that if they're neglected over a period of time becomes a bigger issue than they actually are. So you want to get to the point where if you're not hitting areas every single day, which is fine, you don't always have to do that with every account, especially if it's an account like this where you're going 5 days a week. You don't have to do that 5 days a week. You can do it every other day, you know, a few times a week or whatever, but you still need to make sure you hit every area on the checklist, because the checklist, and I say checklist, scope of work checklist, I use interchangeably. Same thing. Military background, we use checklists. I always say checklist, but it's actually a scope of work. So make sure that your checklist or scope of work is followed to make sure that each area is hit every single time. That way you know that you aren't missing anything, and then anything extra, you know, will kind of play its way out. So I found out that they weren't hitting certain areas and stuff like that. So what I did was, after we went and kind of tidied up those areas that weren't hit, this evening, I actually, when I was there, I took pictures of everything that were issues, and I sent them an email or a text message to both of my cleaners, because I have 2 cleaners at this location, just to kind of let them know, okay, these were some of the issues. But first, you want to make sure that you're not coming off to your employees as if you're putting them down or saying that they're doing a bad job, because as a whole, they're actually doing a really, really good job. We've had this account for over a year now, and it's been really, really good. But every now and again, you got to make sure that, you know, you're keeping your consistency, because your consistency is what keeps you in the job. Being consistent, and even if you do have an issue and the client has an issue with you, not being argumentative or defensive, and just being a customer service related company, saying that, okay, what is the issue? Whatever that issue is, I will fix it, and I'll fix it as soon as possible. That's what keeps my accounts most of the time. We're not perfect. We don't do everything, you know, perfectly every single time. And if any cleaner says that they do, they're lying, because there are no perfect people. There aren't perfect companies. There aren't perfect cleaning companies. But it's about the customer service. It's about the rapport that you have with your client. And if you make sure that you continuously, okay, if they have an issue, you fix it and make them satisfied, guess what? They keep you on for over a year, and they keep going strong. So that's what we did. I sent them a text message letting them know, okay, we appreciate everything that you guys have been doing. I couldn't be in this position without you. You guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate you touching on the areas that I asked you to touch on. Now, here are some of the areas that I've noticed that we missed, and we got to get to a point where we're making sure we're consistently hitting those areas, because these are high traffic areas, high visibility areas. And these are the things that we need to kind of fix to kind of get us to a better, more consistent level of cleanliness for this facility. And that's how I dropped it off to them. I kind of laid it out to them, and I started it off like that. And then I also ended it where I thank them again for everything that they've been doing and how they've been doing so well in keeping this account pristine for the most part. And then I asked them for their suggestions on anything that I can do to make their job a lot easier, because I mean, if you actually think about it, they're doing all the work. They're up there every 6 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a day, you know, taking care of this account, and we've held it for this long. They're doing a great job, and I just sit back and I fix any issues that may come up, and it's my job to make sure that their job is easy. So I asked them their suggestions, their input on what we can do to make it better, to make it a little bit easier for them. So in doing that, I sent that text message to them, let them know what we needed, what happened, and how we can get to a point where we can make it better. And then at the same time, I sent them pictures of the different areas to kind of make it, so they can actually visualize exactly what I'm talking about. So it's not like, okay, well, he just said this because that's what the client said, but I actually have evidence to show these are some of the things that I saw. Even though I took pictures of them, I'm not the type of person to say, okay, fix this, fix that, fix that. What I did was, while we were up there, I actually fixed it, but I took a picture of it prior to doing that so that they know, okay, well, this is the issue. He showed us where it is. He showed us what it was. He actually fixed it because he's the type of owner, of supervisor, or whatever you want to call it, that's going to do the work. I'm not going to tell you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself because I've done every one of the accounts I've actually worked. I know what it takes. I know how long it should take. I know what you need to pay attention to. So I'm not going to tell you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. So now they know, okay, we realized that we didn't do this, we didn't do that. And now we got to a point where this needs to be fixed, this point going forward, and that's what's going to happen. So now what I'm going to do at this point is, after sending that information to them, I'm going to actually revise the scope of work for them and let them know that, okay, you don't necessarily have to do this every single day since we have it 6 days a week, but you do need to make sure that every certain number of days you actually hit those. And I guess the kind of culmination of what I need to do in addition to that is to have pop-up inspections. One of the guys in the group that I'm in, Clean Biz Network, which is led by AJ Simmons. And if you haven't heard of AJ Simmons, look him up on YouTube. Amazing teacher, mentor for cleaning businesses and businesses as a whole. Clean Biz Network, make sure you look it up. I'll have a link below in the description. And for all of you people that are trying to get into the cleaning business, if you're trying to get a course in learning what you need to know about the cleaning business, there'll be a link below. If you're looking to find appointments, or I'll say leads, because the term is leads is what you're going to hear in the field. But with this lead generation service, what you can do is you can put in the information of where you are, your location, what you're looking for, the time frame that you're looking for, your appointments and stuff in, and we will actually send you appointments that are specific to you. These appointments don't go to anyone else, like in Thumbtack and Home Advisor and those other lead generation services. They send those appointments, or they send those points of contacts to you and 5 to 10 other people. So now you have to battle to try to get an account, where if you go with our lead generation service, you tell us what you want. You tell us what kind of career, what field you want to be in, whether it be hotels, whether it be apartment complexes, whatever it may be in the 50 states, we can actually get you appointments that are specific to you. So that link will be below, in addition to other links that will help you kind of get started with your cleaning business. So just remember that as you get your accounts and your clients, and you start to develop a scope of work, a checklist of things that needs to be done, don't become an owner, a manager, or a supervisor that is not present. And I mean not present as in you're not going to inspect, or have something in place where you have inspectors going to those locations, doing a quality assurance to make sure that the cleaners that you have there are following the guidelines and the rules that you have set in order to keep the account clean, sanitized, and up to standards of what the client wants. So with that being said, I'm going to cut this video short. This is Lewis from Squeaky Clean Commercial Cleaning Company here in Columbia, South Carolina. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Do all the above. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to hear some of the ideas that you have. Any of the questions that you have, please feel free to drop it in the comments. Look at the description below. See all the links that we have for the different things that we can help you with, from the Clean Biz Network, the group that I'm in, and also me personally. If you want to speak to me personally and kind of do a consultation, all those links are below. So my motto is, it's not clean until it's squeaky clean. You guys have a blessed and wonderful day, and happy holidays.